Who is Leonora Carrington? Leonora Carrington comes from an upper-class family from England, and that made her have big expectations from others. And to take her mind off from the pressure, she found sanctuary in art. At the age of 10, she saw her first surrealist painting in a gallery in Paris, and had many encounters with a lot of surrealists from then on. But her family, especially her father, is against her career as an artist, while her mother fully supported her. Her father, Harold Wild Carrington, was a textile manufacturer, and her mother, Marie, who was from Ireland, and three brothers, lived at Crookey Hall from 1920 until 1927, that later becomes her inspiration in her art. Being educated by governesses, tutors, and nuns, she was actually expelled from two schools, including Newhall School, Chelmsford, for her rebellious personality. Then, in 1936, enrolled at Chelsea School of Art, London, and then on the Infant Academy of Fine Arts, also in London, that operated from 1939 to 1955 to pursue her dreams of becoming an artisan. In between those years, her family sent her to Mrs. Penrose's Academy of Art, Florence. She also briefly attended St. Mary's Convent School in Ascot. In 1937, she met surrealist Max Ernst in London, where he motivated Leonora while most critics dismissed women surrealists like her. During World War II, Ernst was temporarily locked up at a camp, and she went to Spain, where she suffered extreme emotional distress over this and never got in contact with Max Ernst again. Eventually, she decided to marry a Mexican journalist, later diplomat, Renato Leduc, from 1941 to 1943, to make her have the advantages of being his wife. In Mexico, she found an artistic community and remained there for the rest of her life. In her time at Mexico, she was at the front of the success of surrealist exhibitions at the time, which has given her opportunities for her to establish many connections within the surrealist movement. After 7 years, 1950, Leonora Carrington held her first solo exhibition at the Galleria Claire Decor, with response from the public being very encouraging, and months later, the press published positive and approving critic reviews about her works. Leonora Carrington's work was always threaded with her own experiences in both her art and her writing. She also points out the issue of ecology, feminism, and religion in her work. Some of her most famous work is Portrait of Max Ernst, 1939. In the art, he appears white-haired, seemingly walking, dressed in a woolly red coat with what it seems is a tail. His only visible foot wearing a striped yellow sock. He is depicted in a frozen landscape. To continue, Ernst carries a kind of lantern with a small horse inside, and there stands a frozen horse behind him too. The frozen horse is mostly interpreted as symbols of Carrington herself that is often portrayed on her paintings. In this case, it can be interpreted as the feeling of dependence she felt for Ernst, or perhaps her wish to be freed from him. Another work of hers, Green Tea, 1942, shows a castle accompanied by large gardens and forests. This art is a reference to the place in Crookey Hall where she once lived. She has impressive achievements like in April 2024, one of her paintings, La Destruction de Dagobah, 1945, was sold for $28.5 million, making her the highest-selling female artist in British history. After divorcing Leduc, she married a photographer, Americo Weist, from 1946 to 2007, and had two sons. Their names are Gabriel and Pablo. Later, they became a poet and a pathologist as well as an artist, respectively. Throughout her life, Leonora never stopped working, even still sculpting in her elder days at her home in Mexico City. until she died in 2011 at the age of 94, being the last living connection to the surrealism movement of the 1930s. These are some of her sculptures. Daughter of Minotaur 2010, La Grande Dame, the Catwoman 1951. Good news is, her grandson created an Instagram account at Leonora Carrington State to share their grandmother's work with the world easily. At the end of the day, Leonora Carrington is a one-of-a-kind artist of her time. Even though she got her recognition a bit too late, she has always been creating wonderful work to prove her love of art and even being one of the few known women surrealists to date. This is the one and only Leonora Carrington. Thank you for watching.